As a reminder, you can submit your questions at any time during the webinar. You can send your questions by typing in the open text field in the questions panel and sending your questions to all panelists. If time runs out before your question is asked, we'll try to follow up with you after the webinar. Links to the recording of the webinar and slides from today's presentation will be available within a few days of today's session, and they'll be sent out to you as soon as possible. Also, just for your reference, we did attach the ServiceNow data sheet to the handout section of the GoToWebinar interface. And just so you're aware, after the webinar is over and after you leave the webinar, there'll be a brief survey. We'd love for you guys to fill it out. It just helps us create better content for you and make our webinars more interactive. And now I'd like to introduce you to our speakers. Vincent Jeffrey is a Senior Director of Product here at Everbridge with a focus on IT service alerting and communication workflow automation for IT. Lisa Radley is a Senior Engagement Manager here at Everbridge. We're excited to have both Lisa and Vincent with us here today. And now I'd like to turn it over to Vincent. Vincent, you can begin.
Thank you, Megan. And good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vincent Jeffrey, and like Megan said, I work in the IT alerting department here at Everbridge. So today, during this tips and tricks webinar, we want to talk to you about the integration with ServiceNow, the certified integration with ServiceNow. But before I do that, I realize that some of you may already be using the Everbridge IT alerting application integrated with ServiceNow, but others may just be looking at how this could be working, and so you may be using already ServiceNow for your ticketing system for managing your incidents. You may have also a subscription to the Everbridge IT alerting application, but they may not be integrated at this point. And I guess we also have people today with us who are totally new to Everbridge IT alerting and are just ServiceNow customers. So what I want to do first is to give you a brief overview of what is it that we talk about what is it that IT alerting is about from a Everbridge perspective. So the Everbridge approach to IT alerting is based on a solution that's going to provide you with different capabilities that you can see on this slide. The first one is assess. We provide you with the capabilities to assess the situation, type of incident, severity of the incident. Based on these, the system will be able to locate automatically who the right people to contact are. From this, the system will automatically and through automation be able to send predefined messages to the right people in a timely manner. And last but not least, it provides communication and collaboration tools so that the investigation process and remediation process go much faster. So again, IT alerting is used to help organizations engage with their IT response teams in 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less is the data point that we're getting from our customers, working with them on the performance and efficiency of the process when dealing with incident communication and incident response. So briefly, assessing the situation means that the system will be able to, based on some information provided by ServiceNow, but also by other ITSM ticketing system and also IT operation management application, will be able to determine the type of incident. From what application are we seeing an issue? From what is the severity of the incident? Is it a P1? Are we facing a major incident? What's the impact? So all this information can be sent to the Everbridge IT alerting platform, providing two-way integration with most of their ticketing systems, such as ServiceNow, which we are going to show you a live demo today, but also BMC Remedy, Remedyforce, and also HP Service Manager. We also provide a full set of RESTful APIs so that the platform is very open and can accept or ingest events from any API compatible solution, and also provide email ingestion. As you can see here on this slide, the application is fully certified with Fuji, Geneva, and Helsinki versions of ServiceNow. So now that we know that we are facing a critical incident, the system will automatically be able to identify what groups or what teams should be responding to this incident. And within those groups and teams, we'll be able to find out who the people on call should be contacted. It provides on-call schedule management, shift management, rotation management, and replacement management. Let me give you a quick example here. Let's say I'm on call this afternoon from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And for some reason, I have scheduled this dentist appointment that I forgot about, and I really don't want to cancel it. So I'm going to be unavailable for a couple of hours. So the system allows me to make myself unavailable, and for instance, ask Lisa, my colleague, if she'd be willing to be my backup, right? So this is what replacement management is about. So the platform. I think we have a. Sorry about that. So that was replacement management. Also, the platform also allows for automatic functional and management escalation. So if people don't respond to the notification in a timely manner, automatically we can escalate to the next person in line or to the management. Next is the automation part. As we all know, when we're dealing with a critical incident, a major incident, there is no time for guesswork, and it's really not the time where we want to spend, where we want to craft the message that we want to send to the different audiences, right? So the system here provides predefined communication workflows with reusable message templates. So at the time of the notification, only variables will be needed to send out the message, right? So the features that are provided by the platform are advanced logical and business rules to identify the right people to send the communication to, and multimodal and sequential notification management, which means that the system is going to keep on trying to reach out to the person that should be responding to the notification until they do. And if they don't, like I said before, escalation will kick in and reach out to the next person in line. It's also easy to communicate to stakeholders, to the IT team, but also to your impacted customers during the incident resolution process on the same incident ID, which means we can send updates, for instance, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes to a group of people using the same incident ID. And we can also, in one click now, and that's a new feature that we've released a few months ago, we are now able in one click to send different messages to different groups of people, different audiences. For example, in one click you can send a detailed message about the incident to your IT team. You can send business information to your stakeholders, and just a notification to your impacted users saying that, yes, we know there's an issue with this application, IT is working on it, and we'll let you know when it's back up and running again. You can also, if you have different languages in your organization, you can also, same way, send different notifications in different languages to those different audiences. And last but not least, the platform provides communication and collaboration tools so that the IT responders, for instance, will be able to manage their own schedules from a mobile application. They will be able to receive notifications. They will be able to get on a conference call in one click. And this conference call bridge will also provide the incident managers or service desk features to know exactly who was invited to the call, who did join the call, at what time they joined the call, at what time they left. They can also mute people, boot people out of the call, and so on and so forth, with detailed reports and audits provided. So this is the brief overview of what users get with the IT alerting application from Everbridge. Now, what I want to do is just dig into the processes, the underlying processes that your organization most likely has put in place to deal with major incidents. And the reason why I want to talk about this is to introduce the collaboration with ServiceNow, so that you'll have a really clear understanding on how Everbridge IT alerting works with ServiceNow and what you should expect from this joint solution. So if we look at the incident resolution process high level, whatever you have in place in your organization, it's going to be most likely come down to a phase for identification of the issue, a phase for the investigation. So we're going to spend time getting to the root cause, and then putting a remediation plan together. We may need a approval from an emergency CAB, change advisory board of some sort, and then what we'll do is we're going to execute the different actions, different steps of the remediation plan. At the end, we'll make sure that what we've deployed in production did actually fix the initial issue that we had, right? So this is a pretty standard 4-phase approach in the identification, investigation, remediation, and validation. What you do today, if you're using ServiceNow, is what you see on the screen here. Basically, at some point, IT is going to be made aware of an issue, right? Should that be because of an end user calling into your service desk reporting an issue? Should that be because of one of your IT application performance management tool or your network performance management tool has detected a availability issue on your website? Or it can also be your 24/7 NOC and IT operations monitoring your systems, your infrastructure, and your application detecting issues, right? So step one, issue is detected. Then comes the triage and identification, categorization of the issue. And let's say, oh, we have a major incident. So 2 tickets is going to be logged into ServiceNow. And as you can see in step 3, now that we've completed the identification phase, now what? We still have an issue we need to deal with, right? So now there needs to be a transition between service desk and the IT support teams to start investigating and working on this issue. So if we look at the underlying process, the major incident management process, and this is the one I'm using today is the one published by Gartner. As we see identification, then comes the phase of investigation with the assignment of a major incident manager, with the assembly of a SWAT team, a war room, or a team of IT experts who are going to work on the issue. As you can see, at one point, communication is going to have to be sent to management, so they are aware of the potential business impact of this critical IT issue. There are going to be a couple of conference bridges open. There's going to be one for your technical team. There's going to be one for your management, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into all the details, but until we fix the issue, right? So if we look now at how ServiceNow is being used, ServiceNow is your ticketing system, is your IT service management system to use to manage incidents. So basically what we'll do is we're going to log the incident in ServiceNow and collect some information, assign an incident manager, and at the end of the process, we're going to close the incident. But if you look at everything in between, this is where an IT alerting solution is going to help. It is going to support all the communication steps or communication needs of your service desk, customer service, technical support, and IT teams during the whole resolution process. So that when IT alerting solution is integrated with your service, with your ticketing system, as you can see here, we now have a joint solution that's going to cover and support the entire resolution process, from detection of the issue in step number 1 to logging the incident in your ITSM system to managing the resolution and the communication through an IT alerting solution, which is going to be able to automatically notify and engage your IT response team to start investigating and remediating the issue, send notification to senior management, line of business, application owners so that they're aware of the business impact, and at the same time be able to identify and send notification to your impacted customers so that in turn they're not going to call into your service desk, and they are going to, this is going to reduce the number of inbound calls into your technical support. So with that, I hope I gave you a brief overview, but also a good understanding on how those two solutions can work hand to hand. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Lisa, who I'm sure will be very happy to show you the product through in a live demo.
All right, I'm going to make you presenter. Should be getting a request soon. Should go show my screen. All right. I'll see that. And we should be good. Okay, looks good. So as Vincent said, what I want to walk you through today is really just a demo of the integration from ServiceNow over into an Everbridge organization. I'm going to take you through just walking through opening a ticket, seeing how it comes across, and seeing how you can actually have all of the information from Everbridge within the single pane of glass that is ServiceNow. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I've made things a little easy for myself and for you. So essentially, you're going to have a ticket in ServiceNow, and the way that the Everbridge integration works is that you define a set of conditions that decide when a ticket is escalated over to Everbridge for notification. Those conditions can actually utilize any field on the ServiceNow form, whether it's a custom field or an out-of-the-box field. So effectively, you're just saying, if priority is X, then launch a ticket in Everbridge. So for my demo environment, what I've done is set it up so that I know that anytime I select a ticket that is a priority 1 ticket, it is going to send that ticket over into Everbridge. So from this perspective, I have everything I need in place, and I simply need to make that priority equal to 1. Once I've got that done, whatever fields that were required are all set for me, and I just need to save my ticket. And once I save that ticket, a couple of things will happen. The system's actually going to take a look at it, process it against the rules, and there may be any number of conditions that you set to determine whether or not that ticket is going to go across. If it matches a condition, it's going to launch an incident in Everbridge. And what's going to happen at that point in time when it's launching that Everbridge incident is whatever notifications are defined are going to go out. Now, a couple of things to note. Everbridge does have a calendaring setup as well as ServiceNow, right? So we give you the ability to actually utilize either system for calendaring. So within ServiceNow, if I simply said I want to use ServiceNow Rotas, we can actually pass that information across to Everbridge and notify those individuals that are dictated by the ticket, typically the assignment group on the ticket. Additionally, we have calendaring functionality in Everbridge that can also determine who needs to be notified. So once we've actually saved that and it's determined that it's going to go across to Everbridge, an Everbridge incident is open. And I'm going to stay within ServiceNow and just show you the couple of details that you can see within ServiceNow. So we do have a form or a view that you can see where you can actually see that an Everbridge incident was created, the checkbox from there. And then if we scroll to the bottom of the screen, we actually have some additional information here about the delivery details.
So effectively, if I'm a service desk operator or a network operations center operator, I could stay right in ServiceNow and actually know what's going on with the ticket. It's gone over to Everbridge. I can see that. I can actually click Get Delivery Details, and I'm going to know who got notified. In addition to that, I'm going to know how they got notified. So now you can start to see that I've sent out 18 notifications. I've got 1 notification here. 3 people have confirmed. 10 are still unconfirmed. If I want to see exactly the information about who got notified, I can click on Delivery Details, and I can see that Michael, Andy, Dale, etc. got notified, what method they were notified on, how many attempts am I in, so is this their first method? So on my template in Everbridge, I know that I'm sending via Contact Bridge, email, and text. So how am I actually contacting them? Contact Bridge, primary email, SMS. So you can see the different options within here. And then you can also tell whether or not they've confirmed. Now, as people continue to get notified, now this is kind of a blast to a larger group because, again, I'm doing a demo. But if this was an on-call situation, it would escalate through that on-call. So if you have a primary and a secondary and an escalation, it will escalate through that. And once someone has confirmed receipt of that notification, it will actually stop. So you wouldn't necessarily see 18 notifications in here for something like that. Okay. And then what you also have is an Everbridge response. So this third tab over here is Everbridge responses. What this is saying is who has actually responded. And the way that we have it set up, which is an optional setup within Everbridge, because I'm doing this ticket as an assignment ticket, I'm calling out to a very specific group, and I want whoever picks up that incident to be the owner of that ticket in ServiceNow. So the way that we've configured it is once the first person responds, and in this case it's Yancey, he was the first person to respond, he actually automatically becomes the owner of the ticket. So not only does it save him having to log into ServiceNow, but it's got a track of everything, and you can tell who was notified, who got responded first, and then they become the owner of the ticket. Now, I say that that's an optional configuration because I work with a number of clients who they assign, let's say it's a major incident, to a particular group, and that group manages and owns that ticket. So the notifications we're doing out of here may be to a variety of different groups, and there's a number of different ways to actually go through and do that. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is actually working, but it does not appear it is. I was going to show you on my phone exactly how the message comes up in Contact Bridge for us, but it's not working because that's how things go. But within email, you can see that I've received a notification, or I haven't yet. There we go. My email is catching up to me. So this is the message that I pulled back. So it's got message affecting, what's the incident ID, it's critical, the time and the date stamp, and then the summary and the details. So if I take a look back over here, that is my incident, and that has the impact, the urgency, for the priority of 1, and the short description and longer description. Any field that exists on the ServiceNow form, whether it is a custom field or an out-of-the-box field, can be utilized in the notifications to Everbridge. So you may have created a number of different fields that work for you in your workflow. Any of those fields can actually be pulled into this communication and utilized. Depending on what they are, they could also be utilized to determine who's getting notified. Okay, so those are things to think about from that perspective. So I can also set this up so that if I make updates to the ticket, an update will actually get sent out. Okay, I'm going to do a quick save on that. So the way that I've configured it is if I update this particular field on the ticket, then an update is going to get sent out. And from my perspective, it's going to get sent out to the same larger group at hand. But it's just to show you that those updates can go out. You can actually determine when updates should be sent and should not be sent out. It can be if the assignment group changes or if the priority changes. You can make those determinations within the configuration of the connector itself. Okay, so if I give that just a second and pull back some other information on the Get Delivery Details. So what we will see now is now we have 2 notifications that have gone out. So those are effectively the 2 notifications that I have gone and sent out, and I'm still waiting on a response at this point in time. But what we'll notice is the delivery details will then increase because I will have more people getting notified at this time. So what this table is really nice for is anytime you're adding new teams into a major incident or notifying out to a different team, all of that information will come back into ServiceNow. In addition to that, because of the way the connector is configured and those fields are configured, they are actually reportable within ServiceNow. So you have all of that information in Everbridge, but you also have it in ServiceNow and can report out on it. Okay. So if we were to just hop over quickly into Everbridge, just to take a look at it, I'm going to do a quick refresh on my screen here, but what we will see is that 146 incident came through. And just a quick look, you can actually see my new and my update. They're separated over in Everbridge so that I can actually take a look at each of these individually and make determinations. Really quick in taking a look at it, all of the information that's here is exactly what you see back over in ServiceNow. So effectively, we've pulled that information back into ServiceNow so that you can actually look through it there and not have to come over here and determine who got notified and everything else. Keeps you in that single pane of glass. Okay. And then with the update as well. In addition to the connector sending out new and sending out updates, you have some options with the closing of a ticket. So typically in a workflow, you guys, I'm going to assume, go from a active state to a resolved state and then ultimately to a closed state. You can opt to send notifications on resolution or closure. That's all part of configuration on that. You can opt to send a notification on resolution and send nothing on closure. So all of those things are configurable within the connector itself. There's a couple of different places that you go through and determine what your workflow is, just like anything else in ServiceNow. Okay. From that perspective, anything else, Vincent, that you want to walk through?
Maybe we can spend just 1 minute to show how we manage on-call schedules from a Everbridge perspective.
Sure, absolutely. So within Everbridge, we have the concept of on-call schedules as well. So under our scheduling tab, and let me just make sure that everyone can see this okay. Just a little bit. So within here, you can see that we have calendars. So basically from a scheduling perspective, in like many other applications, Everbridge has 3 things that you require for on-call scheduling. You need a calendar, you need 1 or more shifts, and then you need people to staff those shifts. So you can make this as complex as your groups need it to be, or you can keep it as simple as I like it to be, but never actually get to. You can have something that's a straight 24/7 on-call calendar, or you can have something like my application support calendar, which is made up of multiple shifts across times and across people. Okay. When you take a look at this, effectively what you're doing, like I said, is just staffing and creating and building shifts and then going ahead and staffing them. So from a perspective of creating that shift, you get to specify the days of the week and the time that that shift is going to run, whether it's running for that day or overnight, the groups that you are actually linked to, and then if you're going to sequence through this calendar or not. So sequencing from the perspective of if you have a primary and a secondary and an escalation, do you want to hit them all at once or do you want to sequence in order to get to them? And you may have that different on different shifts. Once you have that in place, you can actually go ahead and build out what we call staffing layers, because within a calendar, you may actually do some escalation within that calendar. You may say, I've got my primary and my secondary, and then the third person, should either of those not answer, is the manager of that group. So you can build that escalation out, and within that on-call layer, you can actually build the rotation in place. So maybe I have 10 people that are participating in on-call, but only 2 of them are on at a time. So you could set that up like this, and then you'd have 2 staff members on shift. They'd rotate on a weekly basis on Tuesdays, because I'm not a fan of rotating on Mondays. And you take a look at your preview for that, and you can see how it kind of rolls through Andy to Michael, and then we roll over to Michael to Yancey. Okay? So you can actually set that up from a rotation perspective. And then you can have some layers that don't rotate. The manager layer doesn't rotate unless the manager's on vacation. Okay. As Vincent did note, within the mobile app, we do have the ability to push the actual day-to-day management of availability down to the end receiver of that notification. So if I'm part of the database team and I've got to go to the doctor for 2 hours, I can actually put that in the app itself and submit my replacement. and that will go through. Notifications will go out so people are aware that a change was made, so it's not just done, you know, kind of outside of anyone seeing it. And then it will appear on the calendars as well. Okay, so you would actually see someone who was unavailable for a period of time and who their replacement was. What that does is allow that to get down to the lower level so that it's not a manager's responsibility to constantly be doing kind of that update to schedules. The other thing about our calendaring is a nice day view, and what I find for a number of our service desk and network operations center teams, they like to see who's on call on any calendar, and you can actually search the calendars you'd like to see it on. I can just take a look at the database calendar, and it's going to show me who's on call today, who's looking for right today, and what's their actual contact information if I need to see it. Okay, so I do have a number of clients that actually like to look through that and see that. And again, this is using the scheduling within Everbridge. As I stated before, you can use the rotas within ServiceNow in order to send the on-call information over to Everbridge and have us contact those individuals. Okay. So I think from that perspective, I think that's everything that we wanted to cover today on this, and I'm going to turn that back over to Megan.
Thank you, Lisa. That's great. See if everyone can see my screen now. Okay. All right, great. So we just wanted to, great job, both of you. We just wanted to highlight where you can find some additional information. ITalerting.com, there's actually a ServiceNow section under, I think it's Solutions, is that under the Solutions tab, and you can, you know, request a demo right from there if you want to see more. And at this point, we're going to move on to our Q&A portion of the session. We have, as a reminder, you can submit your questions by typing in the questions panel in the open text field and submitting the questions to all panelists, and we'll answer as many questions as time allows. And it doesn't look, let's see if there's anything.
And this is Vincent. I'd like to add one more thing, is if you are interested in this integration, you should know that you can download the connector directly from the ServiceNow marketplace. So if you go to the ServiceNow website under the store, I believe, if you type in Everbridge, you will find the connector, and you'll be able to download the connector for free from there.
Great, and we did have one question that came in. Can the Everbridge calendars be synced with IT individuals' Outlook calendars?
Do you want me to take it? Today, we don't do a synchronization of the EB calendar with Outlook, but what I believe we can do is do an export of the Outlook calendar and then an import into Everbridge. And that would be used, that wouldn't be, I wouldn't recommend this as a ongoing synchronization workaround, but what I would suggest is if you already have schedules defined in Outlook, if you're going to transition to a management through the Everbridge platform, then as a one-off type of mass import, that would be my recommendation. So basically, I think everything that can be exported into a iCal file format can be imported into Everbridge.
Excellent. And at this point, I think that is our only question. So like I said, at the beginning of the webinar, there is going to be a post-webinar survey. We'd love for you guys to fill it out. It just helps us with our content, with our speakers, and just making the webinars the best they can be. So please fill those out. And I'd like to thank both of our presenters today. Great job. And I'd like to thank everyone who joined us. It was a great session. If you missed any part of the webinar, please look for an email with the link to the recording in a few days. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to the presenters on the webinar, or if you're a customer, feel free to reach out to your account managers. And thank you again for your participation in today's webinar. We hope to see you online again soon.